Can I store this magazine loaded for an extended period of time? Should I store this magazine loaded for an extended period of time? We're going to talk about that right now. Hey, it's Matt. Welcome back. Okay, there's a lot of debate about this subject. Should you store your magazines loaded or not? And there's the first question that I brought up in the intro. A, can you store your magazines loaded? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. This is an AR-15 PMag, and it is fully loaded. Okay. I have another example. Here is a 9mm Beretta magazine, and it is fully loaded. Yes, you can definitely store your magazines loaded. These are made of modern materials. The springs are properly heat tempered to keep their springiness, whatever they do. And I would not hesitate to keep this magazine loaded for a number of years. In fact, in my AR-15 case, I keep one magazine in the AR-15 fully loaded and 5 additional magazines on the outside fully loaded too. So, you know, I've got all those rounds ready to roll. And, you know, I will say one thing though. Inexpensive firearms use inexpensive magazines. And sometimes they have inexpensive materials in those magazines. Now this is a Beretta name brand magazine. I keep my 9mm Beretta right beside my bed with a fully loaded magazine in the gun and 2 extra magazines fully loaded right next to it. So I'm ready to go. A quality magazine from a quality producer, or quality firearm producer, you're not going to have any problems. You know, we're not talking about high points or anything like that. Not to say that high points are bad, but you know, quality magazines use quality parts, properly tempered steel in the springs, so you won't have any problem. There are instances of people that have found old loaded magazines from World War II, from Thompson submachine guns or 1911 45s, fully loaded magazines back from World War II. Put them in the gun and they function flawlessly. So get yourself some quality magazines. Don't cheap out on magazines. That's not a good place to cheap out on. You know, get yourself some quality magazines and you should not have any problems. Now, should you keep your magazines fully loaded? Yes, you should keep your magazines fully loaded. Why would you take a 30-round magazine and put 20 rounds in it? Because you think, oh, well, I don't want to put the pressure on the spring and everything else. But we just talked about that. Quality magazines have quality components. They're made to be loaded up all the way. Should you keep magazines fully loaded? Yeah, you need that extra capacity. What happens if, all right, let's take a scenario. Here's on should you keep your magazines loaded or not. Somebody breaks in your house and they go to the first place they go is to the kitchen. Grabs the biggest butcher knife they can in the kitchen, and they're coming to get you. You grab your gun, and the magazine's not loaded. Now, he has a knife, you have an unloaded firearm. He has something that could kill you, you have a paperweight. So you have just brought a paperweight to a knife fight. That's not a place where I want to be. Scenario number 2, he breaks in, gets the big knife again. You pull out your 9mm Beretta with your fully loaded magazine and one in the chamber ready to go. Now, he has brought a knife to a gunfight. And that's not a place where he wants to be. That's where I want to be. Okay? Now, if he breaks in and he's unarmed and you'd have an unloaded magazine, you could fight him. But I don't want to fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I want my magazines loaded, and I want them fully loaded. I want to take advantage of every single round in that magazine that I can. And believe me, quality magazines and modern magazines with modern steel, properly tempered parts, they can handle being fully loaded for a long time. So that's my conversation on, can you load them? Yes. Should you load them? Yes. Should you load less capacity? Absolutely not. Load them up. Quality magazines and quality firearms and quality parts can take it. So on a rainy Sunday morning, which is why I'm talking about magazines and not out in the woods. The temperature's cooling off a little bit. It's supposed to get to 85 this week. Hey, I'll take it. So I'm going to be out in the woods pretty soon. So once again, this is Matt the Old Florida Boy, and I will see you on the trail.